Hey there, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Smooth Burrito. I'm Frank.
And I'm Trevor.
We're here to talk about video games and hopefully get more hits on YouTube.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Cool. Yeah. But anyway, I guess we'll just dive right in here. I know that you've been itching to talk about Star Ocean, so I will let you take the lead.
Yeah, so in terms of what I've been playing, it is very heavily into Star Ocean Second Story R. I am absolutely in love with this game. So I recently made a video on it, so check that out if you haven't yet. But overall, like, I don't have a negative thing to say about this game. This is absolutely a remake done right. I don't know, did you originally play Star Ocean Second Story? I think it released back in like 1998.
Now, the only Star Ocean game I've played is the PS2 one, which I was not a fan of.
Okay. Why were you not a fan of it?
I don't know. I just
Just curious.
I just kind of fell off of it. Well, the reason I got it was because my friend Ian, Ian, he was playing Tales of Symphonia on GameCube, and I
Right.
only had a PS2, but I wanted something similar. And Star Ocean is like, there's a weird lineage between the two games, and they do play very
There is.
similarly.
Yeah.
But I beat the first world and got to the second one, and I was just like, this isn't doing it. Like, this isn't scratching the same itch that Tales game did.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to compare those two directly, and it at the same time it's easy to compare those two directly because it almost seemed like Square's answer to that. And Star Ocean back in the day, I had some issues with some of the main issues I had with the game were not story related or conceptual or even like directly how it handled combat and things like that. I really loved all those aspects of it, but there were some minor gripes and pains to like the way the game played sometimes back in the day that were kind of like they weren't like breaking the experience or anything, but they did make it at times a little bit more difficult to fall in love with. This re-release is just unbelievable. It fixes so many things. Like there is a extremely long list of things that like quality of life fixes and things. Like for example, I'm not a big fan of random encounters. It gets rid of random encounters, get the see the enemies in the overworld, which is nice. There's this new, they've completely revamped like kind of how the combat works. They've added this like new break mechanic where enemies basically have a shield gauge, and like when it's broken they'll go into a weakened state of sorts. Like think of Final Fantasy VII Remake, the stagger system, right? It's very similar to that they've added in here, and then they build off of that break mechanic with a like a precise timing mechanic where you can perform like a perfect dodge and then kind of go like prevent you from taking damage and then go into like a perfect attack stance to the enemy, and it kind of like triggers this loop in the combat that just wasn't there before, that is so addictive and makes like grinding so much more fun. That is a complete game changer to the combat for me. And it's just a whole lot more fun in that respect. But the visuals are the main upgrade, obviously. Square Enix
Oh
is,
yeah, that game looked gorgeous.
yeah, Square Enix is known for this HD 2D stuff. They got Octopath Traveler. They recently brought Live Alive into the fray, and it makes those classic feeling games just look so incredible, and look better than a lot of modern games today. And Star Ocean works in a 3D space, right? And it's not like a fully 2D game. So it's different from Octopath and Live Alive and how it does the HD 2D thing. So I was a little taken aback. Like when I started playing it, I was like, is this actually HD 2D? Like, what did they, like, is this the same type of art style that they used before? Or did they do something different here? And it very much is that type of art style being used. And this like open space, you have full control of the camera, you move around and things like that. And I just think it works so well with this game, and I'm totally hooked. I can't stop playing it. It's a blast to play. I forgot how like incredible the story and the characters were And yeah, I just can't put it down. I love it. If you didn't like Star Ocean before, if you hated the story and you didn't like the characters and you didn't like the setting and it just none of it was clicking with you, you're probably still not going to like it because all of that stays kind of true to the original. But if the things that were holding you back were like the minor gripes of how it played in some circumstances or some things like that, then this game would probably be a good one for you to give a shot. I think like in today's, in 2023, you see a lot of JRPG releases coming out and trying to reinvent the formula and do something crazy new and innovative and, like kind of out of the traditional guidelines of what a JRPG is. And Star Ocean Second Story R like just reminded me of how great that like original old school kind of true formula of a JRPG is. And how well it can be used and upgraded in like today's landscape and still be like incredibly popular. From what I'm seeing, everybody's enjoying it, everybody that's playing it. So yeah, Star Ocean Second Story R, great game. You should be playing it.
Nice. Well, I have been playing more Robocop. I know I raved about the demo. The good news is the quality still holds. I really enjoy that game. That I took around to get well soon card for one of the people who got injured in the game. It's a bit of a spoiler, so I won't detail it fully. But yeah, it's the little minutiae in that game that I really do enjoy. It's more of a RoboCop simulator, I think, than like just a straight up RoboCop game, which is really cool. I know that like it's getting really good reviews, at least as far as the PC version goes. I think the console versions were a bit underbaked, and I know that there were some technical issues on PC. I'll get to that momentarily. But as far as like people reviewing the actual game, the only person I saw angry about it specifically mentioned, "Oh, I can't stand doing all this boring crap in between shooting people," and I'm like, come on, man. You can go to any other shooter, like, and get gameplay that is of the caliber of the gameplay in RoboCop, which I do think it is fun combat, don't get me wrong. They utilize slow motion in, I think, a very fun way. Not only do you have, like, the slow motion skill that you can unlock that just puts it on a button and a cooldown, but there's also just specific instances in the game where slow motion will activate. Like, usually if you hit a guy with a headshot, or there were enemies on motorcycles, I killed one of them with a headshot. Game slowed down. He was coming like the bike is still coming towards me. It has momentum. I grabbed the motorcycle, and I have enough time to chuck it at the other guy with the motorcycle and make him explode. It was great. But yeah, there's that. There's a lot of variety. Like they've been introducing new and different enemy types as the game goes on. I'd say I'm probably about like a third of the way through. I might be misplacing that. Like I might be a bit less of the way through the game than I think I am. But they just introduced like a sniper enemy that I had to watch out for. Had a nice fight with an Ed 209. But yeah, on the whole, I think that game is a really, really good time, especially for the price it is. Like, it's a $50 game in 2023, which I find really hard to believe because its quality level is of, I don't know, I think it looks better than Starfield, or at least like on par with it. I think it has
That's
more
fair.
interesting gameplay than Starfield. I think
Have you played a lot
Starfield
of
should be
that?
like $20. I haven't played
Have
any of it. I just watch stuff.
Oh, okay.
But
I still want to play it. I mean, I hear so many mixed things about Starfield, but still want to give it a shot. I haven't played it yet.
yeah, I watched gameplay, and I had a couple friends whose opinions I trust like play it and end up putting it down. But it's a Game Pass game, so you can try it out pretty easily. I don't think RoboCop is on Game Pass, unfortunately, but
I'm
I
gonna
would
have to give
definitely recommend
RoboCop a
seeking it
go.
out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a go. I haven't had a chance because I've been too tied up with all the releases lately. Last time we talked about Super Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2, which I've finished both of those. And then just moved directly on to Star Ocean, and then also Alan Wake 2. So I guess I should speak on that a little bit.
I gotta
Uh,
finish off RoboCop
oh
here.
yeah.
There, as far as technical issues go, from what I hear, I'm playing on PC. From what I hear, don't buy the game on console if you can avoid it. At least when it initially launched, there were some very bad stuttering problems. There were minor instances of that on PC, like the out of the box. Like I had to hit the button that's, you know how it has the button that like basically figures out best graphical settings. A lot of games do that now. I had to hit that like 3 times before the menu like stopped being unperformant to the point of being a slideshow. Once I did that, everything was basically fine. But I know that like my buddy has had problems running it on like a 970, which that is a pretty old card. But like my wife
It's
was
not
playing
that
Diablo
old.
4 on it. It's not that old exactly, so it should be able to run it fine. But I think that like it has optimization problems, which it's a small dev doing something very ambitious. So at least in terms of performance, they might have bitten off more they can chew. You know, like Starfield.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have been making like tweaks and optimizations and patches throughout the, since the launch on like I think November 2nd. So it's probably a much better experience now for people with computers that are on the older side of being able to game. Mine, I have like a 5700 XT, so even that card's a few years old, but like it handled it fine. I didn't really have too many problems with it. The occasional micro stutter here and there, but that also could have been because I'm playing via Parsec in my living room. So
Is it
um,
is it is it only on next gen consoles, not on like PS4 or anything like that?
I think there might be a PS4 version. I'm not 100% sure. Actually, let me check that real quick. Because I can't remember if it was the PS4 or the PS5 edition that people were complaining about. Okay, there's no PS4 version. Yeah, I know the PS5 version specifically seemed to have more problems than the Xbox versions, probably because the architecture of an Xbox is a bit closer to that of a PC. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, watch out for that. But yeah, it has like a 9 out of 10 on Steam right now. Although there's an IGN review next to it that's like 7 out of 10. I'm like, come on, man. But that's IGN for you.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't get into much into that, but the game seems really cool. I like it when games will come up with like a unique concept and then just like fully go all in on it. Like you said,
Yeah.
instead of like focusing on what some people are going to inevitably ask for. I want more shooting. You know what I mean?
Where's the kill? More kill. Although I
Yeah.
do find it funny, like, so you're upgrading your Auto 9, like the Robocop gun, the one that he keeps in his thigh. Like, there are other heavier weapons that you can pick up in the world, but for the most part, at least for me, it's all about the Auto 9, and they gave it a really nice upgrade system. You get like main boards, and then it's essentially this little maze that you're putting like nodes down to activate the different traces. And you have to be smart about it because there are certain traces that have like parts of them that actually pull the stats of the gun down if you power them up. So it's like it's a little mini game in and of itself. It's pretty cool. And one of the things that you can unlock on the gun is more gore. So you can just make people's
You
heads
can unlock
explode at that
more
point.
gore.
Yeah,
That's
it's great.
awesome, dude.
If you're a fan of the old
Geez.
RoboCop movies, I definitely like you need to play this. You absolutely do. Like
Yeah. I'm going to
it is
play it.
the
Yeah, for sure.
rare like nostalgic thing that isn't just throwing member berries in my face as hard as it can. Like
This seems
they did a
like
really good job.
it seems like a good streaming game. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like I would have fun watching people play this too. Um because like I've seen a couple things on Twitch of people playing it here and there, and I just don't think like the marketing or the trailers have done it justice. If you like go in and watch somebody play this game, it's like it's kind of incredible what they did, and it's pretty hilarious,
Oh
honestly.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
a
like
really funny
whenever I
game.
heard when I heard RoboCop game, I was not thinking this was going to be what we got. But I'm pretty excited to give it a go.
Yeah, they definitely were able to hit that pulver hoop and satire tone.
Oh yeah,
Basically
for
dead
sure.
perfect. So,
Yeah,
and it's
definitely
Peter
nailed it.
Weller playing RoboCop again. How can you go wrong? But yeah, I guess
For sure.
my final word on it. It's definitely worth the 9 out of 10 it has on Steam currently. I'm looking forward to whatever their next game is. If they pick up another sci-fi franchise, like people have said, do Judge Dredd next, which I think would make a lot of sense given that like RoboCop and Judge Dredd share a lot of DNA and
Yeah,
inspiration.
for sure.
Um, I also wouldn't mind seeing these people tackle a Blade Runner game. I think that would be really cool, especially if they
Ah,
like worked in some sort of like you have to investigate to figure out who's a replicant and shit. That would be amazing.
that'd be so sick, dude. Frank, get on the phone.
Yeah, I got to get on the phone with Taeon.
make
Uh,
make it happen.
Also, apparently, like the publisher did peripherals too. The Nacon. I didn't know that, but my roommate was like, "Oh yeah, I have a controller by then." I'm like, "No shit."
That's awesome.
But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, dude.
let's talk about Alan Wake.
Oh yeah, for sure. So did you play the original Alan Wake?
I played a bit of the original Alan Wake. I thought it was cool. I meant it was one of those things that back when we were doing like streaming and videos for like the Robot Boombox channel, we played it for that, and I always meant to go back and play it more. I actually don't think we ended up doing anything with that footage, funnily enough, but I never got around to it. But this game looks like they took the good things about that game and maximized them and added a bunch of other cool shit.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. So there are some issues that I had with the original Alan Wake. There were some points in the game that were a little boring. The story just kept me going because I was always really interested in what they put together in terms of the actual like concept of the game, the story, the direction it took, the twists and turns, and the ending was so abrupt that I was like, "What the fuck? Are we serious right now? Like this is how this game's gonna end?" And then they did a bunch of expansions to try to explain things in a little bit more detail, but I was not a huge diehard Alan Wake guy, right? Like that was a game that I felt was solid. It was decent, but not something that like I was itching for a sequel. I know some fans were, but when I saw that there was going to be one at first, I was just like, oh, okay. But as I heard more and more, and this was a game that I was just going to add to like my backlog where I'd like play it eventually. But then reviews and previews and reviews came out, and everybody was like just raving about Alan Wake 2, about the story and like how it was, the pacing, how things were structured, the gameplay, all of it just seemed so interesting. And it's nominated for Game of the Year right now. I have not finished Alan Wake 2, but what I've experienced of it so far, I think I'm about, I'm gonna say like 10, 15 hours in it, maybe even closer to 20 now that I think about it. I'm really close to finishing it. And it's one of those games where it is, Alan Wake 2 is more of a horror game. So I know Alan Wake, the original, tried to lean into some horror elements, but Alan Wake 2 leans pretty heavily into the horror aspect. And I don't want to like touch on too many story elements because I feel like almost everything in this game is a spoiler. Um, Almost like directly from when you like almost right when you start it, really. I feel like it could be spoiled pretty easily. And
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna get any too specific story beats or anything like that because I think those should all be experienced in the game. And once I realized I was going to play it, I kind of like went on blackout for Alan Wake 2 until I got my hands on it. And I will say that it's told from two perspectives. And it's very interesting the way they did this. And one of the things that I really, really loved about Alan Wake 2 is that one perspective is a new detective, and it's almost like a perspective of the game that is catered to new players, people that are new to the Alan Wake universe that aren't super familiar with what is going on, right? And then the other character is Alan. So um, that character's gameplay and the storyline and everything else is more catered to people that are more familiar with it. And it's just so interesting how you jump between those two, how the story is told from like two different perspectives like that. And I thought that it was like super interesting because it's been forever since I played Alan Wake and I wasn't like super caught up. There was like a remaster that was done and I thought about playing it, but I didn't. So it's been years and years since I've been into it, and I had to like
Yeah,
watch a
I believe the
recap.
remaster is what I had played.
Yeah, I had to watch a recap, like, and even after watching the recap, I was just as confused as I was when I finished the first game initially. Um, but Alan Wake 2 kind of pieces things together in a nice way. It does some really, really cool things gameplay wise. If you wanted like a detective game that makes you feel like a real detective, like case boards and case files and profiles of um, different characters and things like that. This is it, man, and it feels so good. Like it has some gameplay mechanics and it does some things that no game has really done before, and I'm really like when I see them done in Alan Wake 2, I'm like really surprised that I've never seen it in a game before. I'm like, how has no one ever thought of this? Like this is genius. Like this is so like such a great idea. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, Alan Wake 2 really executes some really, really, really cool concepts and really, really inventive ways. And I can't say enough positive things about it. It came out around the perfect time, around Halloween. I was diving in like right around Halloween, scary time. And it was just so perfect. Perfect timing, great execution, amazing story. The graphics are probably some of the best graphics I've ever seen in a video game. I don't know how it could be better than this. Like it looks real. And there are sections of it that are like real. If you remember like Alan Wake and Quantum Break, Remedy's kind of known for this. Um, so there are those portions of it here as well. And I think Remedy handles that pretty well because I've always like kind of not really been fond of the idea of like mixing in live action shit into a game because I feel like it's jarring and kind of take you out of the experience a bit. But they find very interesting ways to like mend those two, and they make it work really well. So Alan Wake 2 definitely deserves its Game of the Year nomination. Um, Definitely up there with one of the best games of the year.
It better win.
It better win.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up there with Tears of the Kingdom. You know what I mean? And I don't know if I can put anything above that, to be honest. And Baldur's Gate 3 is great, but I haven't got far enough into that game because that is a life investment that I haven't had time to make yet. But Tears of the Kingdom still, I think, sits at the top spot for me.
I haven't gotten to play Alan Wake 2 myself yet. I've just watched other people play it. Because I'm still ass deep in Robocop and I can only focus on one game at a time. But I just want to wax philosophical about how awesome Remedy is. That graphical engine, that's
Yeah.
proprietary. That is a proprietary fucking graphical engine that they're doing all this shit in.
Yeah.
You were right about like the facial animations look incredible. The detailing on the character models, like the character who like is played by like Sam Lake's face and voiced by James McCaffrey. He's Max Payne. He's Max Payne. They put Max Payne in the game. If you like Max Payne, play this video game, please.
Definitely, he's great in this game. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, he looks spot on. Like dead ringer spot on.
I know.
Where like when they do transition between the FMV and the game, it's hard to notice at first sometimes. And this is a thing that Remedy's been doing since Max Payne, although like they were using still photos for the cutscenes in that game because it was a very small studio at the time. But like they've always been about merging both like film and games in a way that I think is very, very interesting. I at this point would call Sam Lake gaming's David Lynch. I know other people have vied for that title before, but I'm picking him, at least right now. So
yeah,
I think like Also just like I watched all of the Easter eggs because I'm a dork, and I know that they're working on Max Payne 1 and 2 as one game, like a remake for Rockstar right now. So I had to watch all of the shout outs in this game to that, and holy shit, I'm excited for that game. Alan Wake 2 is really cool, but like I am
Oh
really
yeah.
excited for what they do with Max Payne now that they are fully like, they have the talent, they have the money, they have the skills. It's going to be great.
Oh yeah, I agree. Thanks for stopping by and giving this a listen. This was part 1 of the Smooth Burrito. This is what me and Frank have been playing this week. Be sure to let us know in the comments below what you've been playing and what you've enjoyed. If you've played any of these games, let us know how you enjoyed them. Until next time, we're out.